last piece of fan mail before he ran straight into the damn railing.
Yes, indeed, you gotta chill, man. You definitely gotta chill, ladies and gentlemen. It's Busta Rhymes featuring Eminem. The track is entitled Calm Down. It's off that good. The Clash EP mixtape. Coming live from Busta Rhymes. We're back right here on the SWE Sunday Roundtable. I'm going to throw us back into the mix. I was just trying to do something there, but apparently there's some bullshit going on. Apologize for the fuckery, ladies and gentlemen. But welcome back to the show. We're jumping right into it. We're ready to be going to the WWE Raw Rebound, which is titled the SWE Raw Rebound, brought to you in part by my co-host, Viper Angle.
Alright folks, this is the SWE Raw Rebound, presented by losepain.net, wrestling.com, and of course our good friends over the USA Network. So we start off the show with Team Authority, of course, getting prepared for battle for Survivor Series coming up this Sunday, led by, of course, Triple H and his lovely wife, Stephanie McMahon. So pretty much Triple H reiterates about the importance of the match for Survivor Series. He mentions how the match was made, how the stipulation was brought about by his father-in-law, the chairman of the board, Vincent Kennedy McMahon. So he mentions that if the Authority loses this Sunday, that everything's going to pretty much go into anarchy and chaos. The inmates run the asylum. Of course, he took a shot at WCW, who's no longer around.
He owns them. You can take a shot all he wants. When you can buy your competition, you can say whatever you want.
And pretty much talks about, which is a true statement, how the inmates pretty much ran the asylum.
I mean, literally, did anybody pay attention to this whole fake-ass NWO storyline that they came out with? None of those guys, in my opinion, not even Eric Bischoff, who wasn't a wrestler first, but none of those actual wrestlers, whether they were old WWF guys / WWE, which the majority of them were, or whether they were some corn-fed Atlanta bred, I can't really wrestle, but we're going to make you have 158 wins and no losses like Goldberg. Bottom line, when you got people that don't have really creative juices, they just have their best interest at heart, meaning I'm just going to try to make a product or a situation to where it's going to benefit me in the long run. Yeah, I can sit out and come out with these other guys, and we could call it whatever, but this is my idea. And then other people just started getting smart and started latching on to that idea, i.e. Kevin Nash with Hogan. We ain't talking about on TV. We talking about their creative juices, what they were doing before TV started, when they were sitting in the back of rooms writing out what was going to happen on the shows. Now, for some reason, a lot of folks flock to that NWO stuff. Why? I have no idea. Because I never liked WCW. Never. I didn't start watching it more because Hogan went. In fact, I started watching it less because I never liked Hogan. I didn't start watching it more because Randy Savage went there. I didn't start watching more when Ted DiBiase, Rick Rude, Virgil, Elizabeth, Lex Luger, the list goes on. You know, the most WCW experience I have is playing WCW versus NWO World Tour, WCW versus NWO Revenge, WCW Nitro, stuff like that. They would put like a 2 to 3 minute commercial break back then from USA Network to ABC during the commercial breaks of Raw. ABC being Channel 6 for those, TNT. and that would be WCW Monday Nitro. And I could just remember in my head the worst thing I've ever seen in my life from that show was when Goldberg took on Stevie Ray, close to the acquisition of WCW by WWE. He won the match. He stepped up on the ropes doing his little beast taunt, licking his tongue out. He then got smacked in the back of his head with a steel chair, to which he sat right there on the ropes and looked as if he was going to turn around and jack up the guy who just hit him, that person being Stevie Ray. And then the next thing you know, what happens? This guy turns around and falls to the ground like the chair just knocked him out. Ladies and gentlemen, I couldn't take it. I just could not take it. That being said, whose idea was that? Whose creative idea was it to bring out the Nitro girls, even though I've watched the WWE versus WCW Monday Night Wars most recent episode where the women of professional wrestling and the divas in WWE really played an integral part during the Attitude Era and WCW getting NWO and those guys going through the ratings war. As you know, WCW was beating WWE in the ratings war for a consecutive 84 weeks, to which time the Attitude Era started picking up. Superstars like Triple H, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and The Rock started coming into their own. Then you had new talent starting to get up there. They had the acquisition of the whole train with Godfather that pushed the envelope for more raunchy shit on television. You had Sable doing her Playboy thing before the whole lawsuit and leaving WWE. You had Sunny, who played an integral part in stepping up the edginess on WWF programming back then. There's a lot of things that added into why WWE actually won that. Because when you look at creative and the ideas that Vince McMahon not only came up with himself, but the green light that he gave the talent to say, you know what, do it. Let's get this edgier product. That pushed them forward. Meanwhile, the talented guys over at WCW thought, WWE got some hot women on TV. They got boobies and stuff like that showing through their t-shirts. Why don't we get some girls? Except when they got the girls, their girls were just dancers, choreographers, people who did cheerleading and pop locking for football and basketball teams. So every night, right before, they would go to a commercial break, whether it was Thunder when they got put on, whether it was Nitro, the Nitro girls would come out, do a little number, they'd go to commercial break. By the time commercial break come back, they're finishing up their number and the next match comes out. It just made it feel like we already know wrestling is choreographed in terms of like finishers and punches. But when it comes to like you getting thrown off of a cage, going through a table, you can't really plan for that. You can say this is what we're going to do, this is the idea, but you can't really fake that landing unless the table was made out of licorice and jelly beans or something like that. But if it's made out of wood and plywood and plexiglass and all that, chances are you might fuck yourself up if you get thrown through one. So while WCW thought it was just the boobs and the butts and the scantily clad outfits that the WWE and WWF Divas and Women's Division had at that time that was giving the male audience that more of a, I'm going to watch them because they look good, they fucking dropped the ball because they didn't really bring out any athletic type of women. And the majority of the women that you did see wrestling WCW were people that used to be in the Nitro Girl clique. Can anybody out there tell me, and I will give you a $10 free $10 PlayStation Network or Amazon gift card, or I'll give you a card from GameStop that has $10 in credit on there if you can answer this question. Does anybody know, and don't look up, you can't look it up on the internet, because I can do that myself. I already know the answer to it. I can have Barry look it up on the internet, and Viper Rainbow can win the $10. So at the end of the day, don't look it up on the internet. Can any true wrestling aficionado, because we didn't have no internet, no dirt sheets, and no reality reports or nothing like that about that shit back in the day. You watched it, you either liked it or you didn't, and then the next week you liked it or you didn't, that was it. Nowadays with all the social media, they got people who got their own Twitter handles. They got companies who got the dirt sheet that write the real shit. People that's backstage being marks for their wrestling fans and taking this news and telling all these people out there in the streets. At the end of the day, what was Stacy Keibler's name in WCW? It wasn't Stacy Keibler. She didn't take that name on until she came to the WWE. Now, Tori Wilson was Tori Wilson, but what was, and please don't say Miss Tessmacher because that's not her. That's the lady that's in TNA, you jackass. But at the end of the day, what was her name? Her little school teacher type of persona. What was her name, ladies and gentlemen? If you got the answer, hit us up 267-281-5980. The phone lines are open. Or you can send an email to
JusticeStyles@yahoo.com. That's JUSTICESTILES@yahoo.com.
Yes, indeed. The phone lines are open. And as I said, the Divas division in the WWE, before it became the Divas, it was the women's division. The acquisition of China. How she went from being bodyguard / strongman for DX and Triple H to going on her own career, being managed by Miss Kitty, shooting off the pyrotechnic gun, winning not only the WWE Women's Championship, but being the first and only woman who could never say she's won the WWE Intercontinental Champion, and was the first woman to enter the WWF Royal Rumble. So those women like Chyna, Lita, Trish Stratus, even Jacqueline, go back to Marlena, Sunny, Sable. When you start from that era and move up from like 95 on up, ladies and gentlemen, this was the influx of creative talent. Vince McMahon could have just been a sleaze guy, bimbo type of dude that said, well, because this lady looked like she got a rack, because she's doing this, we're going to play up her sex thing and just bring her out. Let's think about it like this. The Godfather came out with these people called the Whole Train. What was stopping Vince McMahon and the WWE from saying, we're not going to go pay a bunch of extras that don't wrestle, that's not in our company, just some women that's on the street, and bring them out with this guy, because something could go wrong. One can fall on a ramp and twist the ankle. We're liable for that. Somebody might do a wrestling move to one of these girls by accident. Bam, they get hurt. He could have easily taken the women that he had on his roster, the Sables, the Sunnies, and things like that, and just had them coming down with the Godfather, especially ones that tried to play up their sexuality, especially Sunny. I'm not going through your track record in real life. I'm just talking about how you played your sexuality up on the television. Because in real life, we know you've been passed around more than a 3 fucking mile long blunt between 5 niggas. That's a lot of passing. A 3 mile blunt, that joint long as shit, and only 3 people smoking that motherfucker. That's a lot of passing, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just letting you know that. She been passed around a lot. Now, I mean passed around like, oh, it's your turn. It's your turn. But at the same time, that's exactly what I mean. Angle, go ahead.
So Triple H ended off with saying that the Authority can't and won't lose the Survivor Series, and also added that the decimation of Team Cena will begin on that show on Monday Night Raw. Then Stephanie adds her little 2 cents in, talking about her team one by one, introducing how great they are, and then calls out Before she talks even more, Ryback decides to interrupt her.
There you go, get that right.
And Ryback pretty much says that the only team I'm playing for pretty much is Team Ryback. So Stephanie tried to cozy up to Ryback, so to speak, saying, we made a mistake last week. We want you to be part of, I don't know, she wanted to be part of the Authority, or at least be on their side, so to speak, so that they don't join Team Cena. So she was trying to cozy up. And Ryback pretty much went ahead enough of it and says, look, I'm playing for the only team that I can rely on, and that's, once again, Team Ryback.
Once a loner, always a loner.
So, once Ryback leaves, Triple H stated that